I just finished watching the movie Ham in theaters, and here are my thoughts. Number one, as someone with a film studies degree, this is your reminder letting you know that every single piece of media that you consume has a bias, has a motif, has messages, has themes. There's always an amount of thought that goes into these pieces of media that we consume every day, that we rewatch every day, and that's just something I want to start with. Number two, I loved this movie. I thought the visual storytelling was magnificent. I think it paired well with the subtext of the film and the different themes having to do with toxic masculinity, the fact that football is a ritualistic slave system that people are fed into, the fact that you never should meet your idols. I think these are just big themes that are very important right now, especially with football season happening. Marlon Wayans and Tariq Winters actually gave really good, powerful acting performances, and I think they were able to use their like pseudo father-son dynamic to really push this narrative into the film, especially having to do with toxic masculinity. And I actually really enjoyed Marlon Wayans' performances probably a little bit more because he was still comedic, and he was comedic in a very like heartbreaking way, actually, like very much giving like you see yourself in the system so long that you become the villain. And I love Tariq Winter's performance as well. I think what I like about it is that since he's a similar age to me, I think the way that he acts just reminds me of like a lot of the people from like college and how like growing up we're kind of moving in this similar way, like in a Gen Z coded way. And I also do love the vulnerability that came with his character as well when he was talking about the last conversation he had with his father before he died. That was a really powerful scene. I think it was probably one of the most emotionally charged moments of the film, and I think he did a really good job with that. Number three, I loved the last 20 minutes of the film. It easily elevated this film from a 3.5 to a 4 out of 5 for me. And I think it's because the sacrifice was always going to happen. We find out that Cam's father set this deal up with the Saviors in the first place. And honestly, it just made me think, we never figure out the manner in the way that Cam's dad died, but it just makes you think, did he die on purpose because he knew that if he died, his son would continue football versus him staying alive and his son quitting? I think what Isaiah was doing, he was prepping him for this battle. I think another thing in this film too, I think that this battle is very much it reminds me of bucking. In slavery, when the slave owners would make the two slaves fight to the finish, this is what this fight was about. Isaiah knew that it was either going to be him or Cam. And the fact that Cam kind of ended the fight saying, like, what's the opposite of a savior? And Isaiah saying a killer, but he's saying a mascot. And I think that is it makes so much sense because he told him not to be a mascot, and then that's what Isaiah ended up becoming anyway. And I think him going out there and killing all the owners and sacrificing the agent, I think it's because he heard Isaiah's words from the sauna, basically saying, if there's a path for you to be free, take that path, which means not signing the contract. It means deading this. And honestly, I thought this was a very great poetic ending. In conclusion, I want to leave you with this. FD Signifier is a YouTuber and content creator, and he made a video recently talking about Saunders Sanders and his journey through the draft. There's this line he says in the video. He says, the NFL doesn't stand for the National Football League, it stands for nigga fall in line. And I think that is the best way to describe this movie. I just wanted to add on to my video because I have been watching more videos. I watched FD Signifier's video about him, and I can see how there are some pieces missing in the ending. Now, do I disagree with my take? No, I do not disagree with my take. I think this is one of those instances where, like, as someone with a film studies degree, you can kind of make some connections. And, you know, sometimes as a writer, when you're writing something, it can get away from you and people are set just to make their own interpretations. But I think what's really interesting is that on the comments in his video, someone, I'm assuming was in production, worked on the film and commented on FD's video and said how basically the ending was the third version, and the person that kept changing it was actually not the studio but the director himself, and how there was a couple scenes cut, and in the final cut you can definitely see where those scenes were supposed to be, and the movie definitely would have benefited from like an additional 15 to 20 minutes just we can get that additional context. And that is something I do agree on. I still think the movie is really good. I think what's going to be really interesting in the future is just seeing how this movie keeps up.